I'm Jill, that's Jade, this is Plus Points, and the Bible isn't just a bunch of books about God. There are also books in it where people write to God, and they're not shy about letting their feelings be known.
Like, I'm angry, or I'm sad, or I'm joyful.
I'm just confused. Why are we shouting?
I'm sorry. Oh, these are the Psalms.
The Psalms, traditionally attributed to King David, many of them have a Psalm of David right there in the title, in fact, are the most familiar part of the Old Testament to most Christians. They're used extensively in meditation, in public liturgy, in private prayer, and just really, of all of the books of the Old Testament, Christians are most enthusiastic about this one.
It's not hard to understand why. The Psalms are grand, they're emotional, Let's get to the key point, which for this episode is that the Psalms are musical poetry both to and about God. That the Psalms are to God is obvious. I mean, when you start with, answer me when I call to you, O my righteous God, or I love you, O Lord, my strength, it's pretty clear that initially, at least, you're addressing God. So the Psalms are prayers.
It's also pretty obvious that they're coming to us straight from the deepest places of the authors. They're not just there to be sung or to be chanted, they're also there to be felt.
The form that the Psalms take is that of musical poems. They aren't so concerned with teaching as they are evoking emotion. They aren't cold or remote or bare-bone facts. They're there to draw you into the feelings of the writer.
And if you're thinking, why? Why make such an emotional production out of religion? Well, then you might be a robot. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, how many of you can remember poems or songs from childhood and you haven't heard them in decades, but you still remember them? Or how many of you can remember a particularly grand speech from Doctor Who? Emotion and rhetoric are hooks for memory.
So instead of saying the universe shows us God's glory and power, we get this. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies display the work of his hands. Day after day they pour forth speech. Night after night they display knowledge. Bit more memorable, right?
Psalms often use metaphor and simile to convey concepts, as well as the neat trick that you just saw, which is parallelism, where lines 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are both statements of God's power, but lines 3 and 4 are an expansion or a diversification of lines 1 and 2. See also, show me your ways, O Lord, teach me your paths. It's called synonymous parallelism.
Your English teacher is showing.
Is it? There are loads of literary tricks in the Psalms to help you remember them. Stuff like pivot patterns, chiasm, ring composition, about 4 other kinds of parallelism. Some other time, perhaps.
Perhaps. Because they're poetry, a strictly literal interpretation isn't going to be helpful, particularly when the psalmist starts dashing the heads of infants against rocks. No, really. They are instead calls to the holy life and reflections on faithfulness in all circumstances.
And whatever the circumstances, they're honest, and whatever the feelings of the writers, you can be sure that they will let you know about them. Now, Psalms come in various types. You've got laments.
I has a sad.
Thanksgiving.
Thanks.
Praise hymns.
You're great.
Salvation history, or how God has worked for us.
This is what God did. Isn't it amazing?
Wisdom.
Make godly choices.
Celebration or affirmation.
Yay!
And songs of trust.
I don't know what's going on, but it's okay. I trust you.
Yeah. Whatever your feelings and whatever's going on in your life, whether you're happy or sad or oppressed or depressed or on top of the world, you will find an echo in the Psalms.
They're used around the world in churches, in synagogues, in homes, every single day to give us the words that we can't find for ourselves.
In the Psalms, we meditate alongside the writer with the God who made us both. Culture changes, technology changes, the way we live changes, but feelings are common to the whole of humanity throughout the whole of history. Poetry is awesome, you know.
Your English teacher is definitely showing.
But look at all the bothers I give.